Do you ever feel like your husband has a secret vault for his feelings and you just can't find the key? If so, you're not alone. In this video, I'll show you how to get your husband to open up without feeling like you're nagging or pushing him away. I know how frustrating it can be when you want to connect emotionally, but he seems distant or unwilling to share, unwilling to open up, unwilling to let you in. It's almost like this vault is locked and he's put the key away, and it's frustrating, right? Every time you try different ways at different times, and it doesn't seem to be the right time or the right approach or this or that, and it gets frustrating. And so you're here because you care about your marriage. And I want to commend you for seeking answers, for even watching this video, even right now. You're in the right place. And I promise there is hope. There is hope. Now, if this is your first time to this channel, let me say welcome. I'm Kingsley Grant, a licensed marriage and family therapist and a certified relationship coach. I've been married for 39 years as of this video recording and have walked with many couples through challenges just like what you might be experiencing, what you're grappling with, what you're struggling with, if I may say so. So I've seen so many different relationships, marriages. And of course, as you can imagine, me being married for 39 years, um, it just goes to say that I've had my share. So believe me, I, I've seen how hard it can be to bridge this gap. But with God's wisdom and a few practical steps, it's possible. It's possible to bring back the connection that you long for. I know you might be feeling like, well, Kingsley, I don't know what else to try. I've tried almost everything. You name it, I've tried it. And I do believe you. I understand the frustration and how it is you're experiencing right now, the marriage, the relationship. Before we get into to it, I want to share a free gift with you that you can get at the end of this video. And so it's going to be the 5 proven steps to a happier marriage. And I want you to stay tuned till the end of this video to get the instructions of how to get that in your hand. And if you have not yet hit that subscribe button, can I ask you to go ahead and do so right now? I'd really appreciate that. That means a whole lot to me, but also to get this video and others on this channel to others so that they can watch and hopefully get the experience you're going to get from watching this video today. Now, here's what I do know. Your husband might seem like a rock. Yes, stoic, silent, and hard to crack. It's like that nut that's hard to crack. Have you ever, you can say, well, I know that's my husband you're talking about. You feel like you're doing everything, asking questions, the right questions, reflective listening, effective communication, showing interest, even dropping hints, but nothing seems to work. It's like you're trying to water a plant that refuses to bloom. It's discouraging to say the least, isn't it? Yeah, I would imagine you would agree with that. Now, you might wonder if it's you, if you have done something wrong, or if he simply doesn't care, lacks interest, is are losing interest in you. I cannot tell you how many couples or wives actually I've worked with who have said these very words at different ways and different times. And they would have meanings or conclusions or draw conclusions from what's going on. And basically that becomes their default. So deep down, you just want to feel like a team again. Isn't that so? Not like two people living separate lives, two ships passing in the night. That's not what you want. You didn't sign up for that. That's not what you entered marriage. to be in, but it's what you're going through right now. Now, I want to make sure that you understand something that before I go any further, because you might hear me talking to you as a wife and wonder, what about my husband? What about him? What's his responsibility? What's his role? And get, you know what? I get it. I can imagine. So sometimes I want to just kind of preface where I'm going with this so that you can hear me from the position that I'm coming. So here's why I believe that you're in such a powerful position to effect change in your marriage. Proverbs 14, verse 1 sums it up. It says it this way: a wise woman, and I could insert the word wife, a wise woman builds her home, but a foolish one tears it down with her own hands. Imagine that. And I notice that what strikes me when I think of this verse of from Solomon in Proverbs, it says a wise woman builds her home, not house, her home. There's a difference, right? It's what goes into a house. It's a the temperature of the home. It's the tenor, the tone, it's the pace. All of those things are what a home embodies. And the Bible says a wise woman, a wise wife. So I'm speaking to you as one who I believe fits this bill. You are a wise woman. You're here. Number one is an example of what I would say that's a wise decision to watch this video. So you're wise already by watching this video. But Solomon intimates that a wise woman, a wise wife, she seeks and does everything does in her power because she can effect change. She has that ability, that influence, that power that she may not realize. So you're here because you're wise, and I believe you're capable of leading this transformation in your marriage. In my almost 2 decades of working with couples, I can tell you that, and you may attest to this, that 80 or more percentage of the person that initiates counseling or coaching, I'm saying it's counseling mostly, are the wives. She tends to lead the way. She will come by herself. She will drag her husband with her. But she is the one that tends to be more relationship conscious, right? You know this because you're watching this. She's the one who has had the temperature on the relationship. Sometimes her husband, like myself, because I know it because I'm like your husband to some degree, is oblivious at times that there's something going on in the marriage. I mean, we're so busy and our heads are down, working away, and we just don't we miss it sometimes. But you know, you have that sixth sense, I believe, that God has given to you to recognize there's something at play. You know, I've heard many times it's that woman's instinct, right? That's something about her that she can tell. I cannot tell you how many times I've worked with a couple and a wife would tell me about a gut instinct, something she felt, and when she acted on that, it confirms what she was feeling. And she would say, "It helps me to realize I'm not crazy." Now, before I share this step with you about how then to actually create this change or figure out how to make a difference in your relationship, I want you to just pause for a moment and ponder and take a deep breath because sometimes I may make some suggestions and depends on where you are in your marriage. It may seem like, wait a minute, I don't have room to hear this. I don't have the capacity to listen to this. So take a deep breath and just kind of exhale. And let's kind of settle that moment for a second here. Now, if what I've shared so far is resonating with you, smash that thumbs up button at this point and just to let me know that this is making sense so far. So here's the truth. The old way of trying to force communication just doesn't work. You know this firsthand. You've tried different ways to get your husband's attention and communicate to him, and for some reason, it's not making much difference, right? So, is there a something that will make a difference? I believe there is. Now, I want to share with you what I think, and I believe that is the game changer. Now, I want you to recognize that I'm not saying that somehow you may not have thought about this or you may not be practicing this, but stay with me for a second here. I believe that embracing the mind of Christ is the fastest and most impactful way for you as a wife to rekindle love, better understand your husband, and deepen intimacy in your marriage while maintaining your peace and your joy. Now, what just tend to happen is that where I find sometimes wives struggle with this because she wants to control what happens. She wants an outcome that she believes is important. And I'm not saying it's not, but at this moment, and she wants to get her husband to get that outcome from him. And sometimes, as you may have found out, it is not working. It's an it's an element of control. You may not see it as such, but yes, you want to control how things are, what needs to happen. And if your husband hears that in any manner, that that implies that you're either blaming him, accusing him, telling him what he's not doing and what he's not good at, disrespecting him, any of those type of things, he ain't gonna hear. You know that he's not gonna hear you. So you've got to let go of control of wanting that outcome and focus on the process, which means in reflecting Christ's love and patience in the process, right? Because that is what's going to make a difference. See, when that is done the way that I believe God intends, what is going to happen is your husband would feel safe to open up. Here is a prime example. My wife and myself, we've been married for, as I mentioned, 39 years, almost 40 years as of this recording. And we've gone through our share, as I mentioned before. But I find that when my wife wants something to happen and she is bent on that thing happening, I tend to either shut down, I tend to resist it, I tend to push back against it because I'm hearing something that other than what she's saying, right? Sometimes I'm hearing she wants to control me, or she wants to reprimand me, or she wants to tell me what to do, or all of those things. And most times it's not so. It's not so, but it's how I'm hearing it because it's timing. Timing is everything, right? It's a when and the how and the where and the what, all of that. And so it's important to look at maybe your presentation. Now, you might be thinking, Kingsley, why should I have to do all the work? It sounds like you're asking me to do everything. And what if he never changes? Well, let me assure you, this isn't about letting him off the hook. What it is about instead is creating an environment where trust and openness can grow. Remember, I said it's you who create the temperature. You're the thermostat that sets the temperature of the home for the most part. For the most part, all things being equal. One of the things I've said often is if nothing changes, nothing changes, right? So if nothing changes, what that means is the emotional distance between you and your husband will only continue to grow. That's what's going to happen. So we want to do something different than what we've always done if we're going to get a different outcome. So over time, this could, if nothing changes over time, this could lead to resentment and even separation. And in some cases, sadly, divorce. So the question becomes is what do you want? And I know that you're not watching this because you want the same old. But there's good news. You have the power to stop that cycle and build a stronger connection starting today. Now, I've worked with, as I mentioned before, wives who felt just like you, like their efforts were going unnoticed. One wife shared how she felt invisible in her own home, felt not seen, not heard, not acknowledged, not appreciated, you name it. And she felt invisible in her own home. And I get it. And I've seen that. I've seen where sometimes, I guess, my wife would tell you if she was here, that she have had at times felt that way at different parts of our journey in our own marriage. But I can tell you, God showed me a different way, a new way, how to receive what she's trying to do. And I can tell you, I'm not perfect. I'm still at work. I'm still working on it, right? I'm a work in progress, and so are you, and so is my wife. And so I want to share with you this idea, what I found to be different. So how do you get your husband to open up? It starts with one simple change in how you approach him. Let me explain. Instead of asking, as an example, what's wrong? Try saying, I notice you've been quiet lately, and I want you to know I'm here whenever you're ready to talk. Imagine your husband hearing you say that, right? Notice what you're doing is using I statements. I notice. I want you to know I'm here whenever. So it's I statements that are going to communicate a different way, a different tone to him. It's like planting a seed in soft soil. Loosen it gently and give it time to pop open on its own. The air will pop it open sometimes, right? So sometimes that's the way you have to approach your husband. Now, by taking this one step, you can create an environment where your husband feels valued and safe. This opens a door to a deeper connection and stronger partnership. Just a simple framing your statement, your conversation with him. Again, instead of saying, what's wrong? And he hears that, like, well, okay, I didn't even know something was wrong, or blame, or, responsible for what's going on. So again, a change in tone. I notice, and I'm curious. That one change can be a game changer. Right. So I want to encourage you to experiment with that and let me know. I'd love to hear from you. What happens, what's going on, what it is you've tried. If not, well, not say it this way, what you've tried and how is it working out? Now, I want you to think about this as some takeaways from our conversation today. Number one, stop pushing and start creating safety, right? Stop pushing and start creating safety. Number two, embrace the mind of Christ as your guide. And number three, one small shift can lead to big changes, right? And again, remember, you're not alone in this. God is with you, and He's building something beautiful in your marriage. You may not see it right now, but He is. And one of those ways I want to help you with this journey is to download the guide I mentioned to you by going to buildyourhappiermarriage.com/guide, buildyourhappiermarriage.com/guide, and get your free copy. Remember, Psalm 127, verse 1 says, unless the Lord builds a house, the laborers build in vain, right? The builders labor in vain. So let God's wisdom guide you. And so in our next video, I'll share 3 ways to rebuild trust after an argument. And I hopefully, because you've subscribed and hit that, of course, that thumbs up button, you will get notified when that does happen, that the video is out. So with that said, my friend, God bless you and keep you, and make His face shine upon you and be gracious to you. And make sure you watch this other video that's right here, and share that. Share that on this one here with at least one other person. The link I share with you also will be below in the description that follows this video. So God bless you and keep you, and I'll see you in the next video. God bless. Peace out.